something huge is going to happen here in the Southern Oregon real estate market, and I'm going to tell you all about it because listen, if you play this correctly, if you're a buyer or seller, if you play this right, you can make a boatload of money. And if you're on the other side of the coin and you play this wrong, it could cost you dearly. And I mean thousands and tens of thousands and maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm not even kidding. It's that big of a deal. To show you exactly what's going on, let's go over to the whiteboard and I'll explain it. Okay, let's start out by talking about what the actual problem is that we have in the Southern Oregon real estate market, because it's a big one, okay? And so to kind of illustrate that point, I'm going to show you a little graph here, which is the typical supply and demand curve in economics, okay? This is price, this is quantity, this is supply, and this is demand, okay? So what we have in here is equilibrium, where supply equals demand. That's called the equilibrium. And what's going on currently in the Southern Oregon real estate market is that there's what's called a shortage, okay? A shortage of inventory is where supply is less than the amount of supply that is demanded at the current price point. So if you think about supply being up here, that's where, you know, price would go from being at this point, it goes to this point, prices are up because the amount of supply is down, right? So that's what is happening currently in the Southern Oregon real estate market, is we have low supply because our inventory is low, okay? Traditionally, this point, this equilibrium in most real estate markets is considered to be 6 months worth of inventory. We currently have 4, okay? And that's actually higher than we've been in quite some time. We have about 1,300 homes for sale between Jackson and Josephine counties here in Southern Oregon, okay? So that is not really that many when you consider there's about 300,000 people living here and we have people moving here all the time. So that's just one side of the coin, is that the supply is low, right? And the other side of the coin is that demand is actually high. So when demand increases, like I'm showing here, you have from the equilibrium, you go up to this point right there, which again drives prices up, and you can see that that's also not good for the price of real estate. Or maybe it is good, it depends on what side of the coin you're on. So that's really the thing, is that the current situation is that supply is low, demand is high, and that's what's causing prices to increase, okay? Now, naturally, a market wants to get back to a place of equilibrium, all right? And that's great and all, but we have to start to think about what types of things need to happen in order to get back to a place where we're at a 6 months worth of inventory point. So think about that for a second. What would cause supply to increase? Okay, that's the obvious one, right? Well, how does supply of houses increase? Well, you build more houses, right? You develop them, okay? Developers develop. That is not a quick fix, right? It takes a long time to develop properties, to take land from a big field, to turn it into a subdivision, to bring in all the utilities, the sewer lines, the water lines, all that. That takes a significant amount of time and money. And so it has to be a big incentive for a developer to want to do that, right? And that incentive is money. They're going to make money on the development. The other side of that coin, like I said, it takes a lot of time and there's not a lot of it happening, okay? And so even if it was happening, it's probably at least a year out before you're going to see the effects of it trickle into the market, okay? So supply side is not a quick fix to a problem where we're like this, where we have inflated prices because of a shortage. So what about the demand side? Okay, what we could do is we could bring demand back from here, bring it back down to here, and that will lower prices, right? So maybe, yeah, it should happen like that, but how do you lower demand, right? What types of things would take our demand from the current level down lower? It would be things like mortgage rates going up. It would be things like just the general area becoming less desirable. And that is not very likely to happen, okay? So therein lies the problem, okay? We have a little bit of a situation where we don't really have a quick fix to supply. We don't really have a way to drastically affect the demand. We're kind of just at the mercy of all of these things playing out. And the forecast from a lot of people that I talk to, and if you turn on the news, the forecast for mortgage rates in 2025 and for the remainder of 2024, it's September right now, the forecast is for rates to go down, okay? So if rates go down, that is going to increase demand. We're gonna talk about that more in a second. Before we get into that, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this board up a little bit to make it a little bit easier to follow, because we definitely wanna make it nice and clear for you, okay? Because there are some key indicators that we can look at here locally in our market that will help us understand kind of where things are going and where they're heading, okay? And so there's always like a seasonality to the market in Southern Oregon especially, and that does occur in many other places where, you know, we have a strong selling season in the spring, and that carries on pretty strong through the summer. Things kind of taper off like around September, October, November. December and January tend to be the lowest, and then it starts to pick up from January 1 all the way into the spring, and things go pretty good. So we have this like very consistent seasonality year after year that happens, okay? So that is one thing that we have going for us that we can look at and say, okay, well, what do we predict is gonna happen when we think about, you know, the spring of 2025, okay? Likely that we're gonna have that seasonality continue, and we're gonna have more buying activity in spring of 2025, okay? I'm gonna draw this chart again just so we can reference it. But again, we have supply, we have demand, we have quantity, and we have price, okay? So what we're talking about happening in the spring of 2025, and this is the big event that I'm talking about, that if you play this right, you could do really well for yourself. If you play this wrong, you could have a really bad situation that sets you back years and costs you a boatload of money, okay? And how you play it, what side of the coin you're on, is gonna depend on your specific situation. I'm happy to help you with that. Call me, my number's on the screen right now. Call me, text me. Happy to talk through this with you and help you make the best decision for yourself and for your family, because this is a time where it could be significantly impactful for your future, okay? So here's what's up. We have this supply and demand curve like we talked about, and we're looking at a place in the spring of 2025 where we anticipate demand going up, okay? We expect it to go up because we expect mortgage rates to come down. That's what a lot of people are saying. So we're expecting it to go up because of mortgage rates, okay? We're also expecting it to go up because of the seasonality, okay? So we always have a little bit of a seasonality in the spring. So we expect it to continue to go up because of that. We expect it to go up because there's people moving here, okay? There's a lot of migration happening to Southern Oregon, cities like Medford, Ashland, Grants Pass. People are moving to these cities, getting out of places like Southern California, the Bay Area, Seattle, Portland. I have people all the time calling me to relocate from California. How do I get the heck out of California? I can't stand it anymore. How do I get out of Utah, Colorado, Montana, Washington, Alaska? I've played people calling me from everywhere, Texas even. I thought everybody was moving to Texas. They're coming from Texas to here, from Arizona to here. Anyways, people from all over the place are coming here, okay? It's a very popular spot because of all the reasons that I've talked about on so many of these other videos on this channel. The cost of living is low, especially on the West Coast, 6% above the national average. Look at all the other cities on the West Coast. Look at the Bay Area, it's more than double the national average. Look at Seattle, look at Portland, they're 120, 150% above the national average, okay? So Southern Oregon, 106% of the national average, okay? Just 6% above, and we have great climate, okay? Where else are you gonna find that on the West Coast? Nowhere north of here, that's for sure. So you have to look south, right? And you look south and you have California. And that alone is a deal breaker for a lot of people. So you basically have a small little window called Southern Oregon. If you wanna have a good climate and you wanna have a low cost of living and you wanna be on the West Coast, we're it, okay? That's why a lot of people are moving here. So anyways, demand going up, okay? And what happens when demand goes up? Prices went from here at this spot, and now they're going up, right? Exactly, that's happening. How do we combat that? How do we make those prices not go up? Well, the only chance is to increase supply. If we can move supply over to here, let's say, then this whole line would go down, and this point where we just found ourselves would now be this point, and you chart that over and we'd be back to here, okay? That ain't gonna happen. Here's why. I just told you why. Because it takes years to develop property and to build houses and to build enough houses to where it's going to affect this, okay? So the perfect storm is brewing. It is definitely brewing, and it's going to be something that creates a scenario where demand goes up and demand goes up and demand goes up, and it's because of all these reasons. Now, here's the question. Who stands to benefit from this, okay? Who stands to benefit from a situation where demand is increasing, supply is maintaining, okay? But here's actually the reality. Supply is not going to maintain, right? It is not gonna happen because as demand goes up and up and up and people are buying houses, supply is going to go down and down and down, and there's not the houses being built to help with it, right? So more people are buying houses because demand went up, okay? More people are selling houses, so supply is going down. And in the meantime, when demand's going up and supply is going down, prices are shooting up through the roof and they're up off the board, okay? Prices are way high. So that is the scenario that's brewing. That's what's going to happen in the spring of 2025 if mortgage rates continue to decline and they get into the lower 5s or even the 4s or even the 3s again, which we were always told is a once in a lifetime opportunity, but there are some people out there who are predicting that that could happen again, okay? Believe me, there's a lot that is going to happen between now and the spring of 2025, okay? A lot. There's a presidential election. Who knows what else is going to happen between now and then, but the projection is that at this point, by most people, is that mortgage rates are going down, which is going to increase demand. The projection is that more and more people are going to continue to move to Southern Oregon, which is going to increase demand. And the projection is that there's not going to be enough houses being built to satisfy all of that additional demand, which is also going to increase prices. So who stands to benefit? Homeowners. Homeowners of Southern Oregon. If you own property in Southern Oregon, you are likely to benefit significantly from this type of a situation, okay? So if you're thinking about buying real estate in Southern Oregon, it's a very, very good time to do so before this happens, okay? And yeah, you maybe get a lower rate up here, but you're gonna pay significantly more for the home that you're gonna have a lower rate on, okay? So why not buy that home here and enjoy that ride up in appreciation that you will likely get, in my opinion, okay? Enjoy that ride up and then refinance when the rate comes down to a really, really incredible rate if that happens, okay? And if it doesn't happen, good, then you bought at a low rate anyway. So I don't see what the problem is. So that's the scenario. So those are the people that stand to benefit, okay? The people who could not benefit, who could play this wrong, are the people that are sitting there thinking, well, I don't know. I think prices are gonna come down. I think this or that, or my uncle told me, or my mom's friend is a plumber who worked on a house for a guy that flipped some, and he really knows a lot about real estate, and he told me that another crash is coming, okay? It ain't happening, okay? I'm here to tell you, this is the scenario that's likely to play out. I think it's gonna happen. I'm so confident that I think it's gonna happen that I'm putting it on video and I'm putting it on the internet, okay? So if it doesn't happen, feel free to just roast me in the comments in the spring of 2025. Tell me how dumb I am. Tell me how bad I got it, how bad I guessed it, and it didn't happen, okay? I earned it if it didn't happen, okay? I'm fully aware of that, fully get it. But if it does happen, I told you so, okay? I told you now, in the fall of 2024, I told you that it's a great time to buy. I told you that you have a lot of opportunity to increase the value of your home because of this exact scenario that I'm looking at right here on this board, okay? That is something that is very, very important for you to know. You can participate in this, okay? If you're thinking about buying an investment property, think about the appreciation that you might be able to experience in an investment property, okay? If you have money that's all in the stock market, you might want to think about diversifying a little bit into something like an investment property. I'm not a financial advisor, I can't give you financial advice, blah, 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 okay? But I'm just saying you might want to think about that type of stuff, okay? I'm very, very confident that this type of scenario is going to play out if mortgage rates go down into the low 5s or lower. That is the caveat to this whole thing. Mortgage rates have got to go down because I know supply is not going up. It's not going to, the fix isn't on the supply side. The long-term fix is on the supply side. The long-term, decade out problem or solution to the housing crisis is it needs to be supply. It needs to be that there's more homes being built and there needs to be incentives for developers to actually build them, okay? That doesn't exist right now. The only incentive for a developer to do it is the profit, and that's simply not enough for a lot of developers to want to risk that much money on a property that they could be holding on to for a decade because the market turns around or something like that happens, okay? So the incentives need to change and the supply will change with those, and that will eventually solve this problem for the long term. But the short term is that this is what we have going on. You could take advantage of it, or you can sit and watch everybody else who does and wish that you did. So that's what's up. And if you want to know, I did mention one of the things on here on this video that there are a lot of people moving to Southern Oregon that are migrating here. If you want to know why that is, okay, because I wanted to know, I went out and I talked to people on the streets. I talked to locals. I talked to people that weren't even from here. And I asked them, why in the world are so many people moving to Southern Oregon, okay? And you can check that out on this video right here. Give me a call if there's anything I can do to help you learn, buy, or list real estate. If you want to talk through this scenario, see how it affects you, call me. This is my number right below. It's my direct number. Call, text. I'll be more than happy to help you. I'm Brian Simmons with the Buying Southern Oregon Real Estate Team, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for watching.